Alright, so hello and welcome to another episode of The Raven and the Road. Today's going to be a little bit different. So what we're going to get into today are two different finger stretches. So these are two different finger stretching exercises to kind of help us, especially with chord voicings, but also, just kind of making stretches. It could be pentatonic pattern stuff, but, especially for some certain chord voicings, just kind of getting our fingers used to being stretched and kind of moved around. All right, so exercise number one is called finger suicides. If you ever did athletics, you might remember that exercise. We start here, we run to this cone, you run back, then go a little farther, here, a little farther, so on and so forth. Okay, so this finger exercise only uses two fingers at a time. So that first cone, that cone we're always gonna start at, is going to be our first finger. This first finger does not change. We always come back home, excuse me, to finger number one. So the second finger, for right now, we'll use finger number two. So we're going to go just these two fingers only, here, and back home. And now a little bit farther with the same finger, back home. A little bit farther if we can do it, back home, a little bit farther, so on and so forth, and back down. So you'll notice it's only these two fingers. All right, well, I'm going to do this exercise up and down each string. Next string. All the way, all six strings. Once I do that, I'm going to still, first finger still home base. Then I'll do that same thing with my ring finger. If I can go farther, fantastic. Remember to breathe, keep nice and relaxed. All the way back down, all strings. Lastly, your pinky. Same thing. Remember while you're doing this, keep a nice relaxed, open palm. We don't want to tense up, that's going to limit our range. Keep nice and relaxed and then stretch, you're going to be able to get a farther reach. Keep nice and relaxed. All right, the last one for that one is we've stretched every finger except our first finger. So to stretch our first finger now, we're gonna start with our pinky on fret number 7, kind of that dot right there. All right, and same thing, we'll go pinky. Pinky's gonna be our constant, that's our first cone. First finger, pinky, first finger, pinky, first finger. That'll help get your first finger stretched out a little bit. All right, so that's exercise number one. That's our finger suicides. So our next is going to be, I call it the spider. It can also be, it looks more like an inchworm. So we're gonna start on the 7th fret, G string, 6th fret, B string, 5th fret, E string. So this little diagonal shape going down. All right. So I'm going to take this. Don't worry, it's probably not going to sound pretty. It's not the point. Our first finger is going to go down a half step. Then our middle finger follows. Ring finger follows. First finger, middle finger, ring finger, first finger, middle finger, ring finger, so on and so forth. Then if you want to try it backwards, you can do that. Now you can take that, you can shift strings. So maybe instead of G, B, and E, maybe I do D, G, and B. Or I do A, D, and G. So you can kind of move that around. The last thing, if you want to take that inchworm exercise to level 2, which you can do for back on G, B, and E, we'll do 2 half steps per finger. So first finger again, middle finger. So it's kind of 2 moves per finger. That's if you really want to go above and beyond. But finally, closing notes, remember, when it comes to this, we want to stretch. So just like physical activities, physical sports, there's a difference between stretching and pulling. So know your limits, don't force yourself, push yourself enough to start to develop that stretch, but don't do it so much that you harm yourself. I really only recommend doing this maybe 2, probably max 3 times out of the week. It will take a lot out on your hands. It'll fatigue you kind of quick. So take your time, be patient, don't overdo it, please. But those are 2 of my favorite exercises. Just kind of help get your fingers used to those different shapes on the guitar neck.